cicadas. We're gonna get those, right?
Yeah, that's...
We're gonna get that guy talking?
No, I'm pointed at you, so
Okay.
you're good. It's all good. All right. So, would you state your name, please?
Do I look naked?
You look a little naked.
Should I pull this up a little?
Yeah, there we go. I'll just stand back.
I
was just trying to
realized I might look, you know, like too bare up here.
How's that?
Yeah,
That's
close
nice. I just need a little bracer. Okay, so turn your body, yes, that's lovely. So today is August 28th, and we're at Tryon Park. We're going to try on some interesting ideas about your program. So tell me who you are.
All right, I'm Nancy Bruning, and I'm the fitness coordinator for Fort Tryon Park. I have my own business called Nancercize, and that's it. I mean, what else do you want me to say? You want me to say
That's
I'm an
good.
author of 26 books, and the author of Nancercize, 101 Things to Do on a Park Bench. Do you want me to look at you, or?
Yeah, you can look right at me. It's perfect.
Okay. So
that's perfect. Great. Well, thank you very much. Great.
Cut.
Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to describe for me what your inspiration has been for doing this program.
Well, for one thing, I love being outdoors, and when I was a kid, I used to play in the local parks. I'm born and raised in New York City, and I had a backyard, but I really liked going to the parks and playing on the streets because it was more fun to play with other kids than to be by myself. I'm an only child, so it was really fun to play with the other kids. So I had that whole parks thing going, and eventually I became a writer, and I started writing about health and science. I was very interested in why things are the way they are, science, improving people's lives. And then when I got breast cancer, I really got interested in writing about health and finding out more about how people could prevent disease like breast cancer, and also what they could do once they were diagnosed to have a better prognosis and to have a better quality of life. So I started writing about health and trying to help people more than just beyond having conversations with my friends. And eventually I got a degree in public health, and that's a way to reach as many people as possible. At one point, before I got the public health degree, I was a personal trainer, and I was dealing with people one-on-one. And that's great, and I still do it, but I really wanted to reach more people. And if you just do them one at a time, that takes a long time, because I forget how many billions of people we have on Earth, but it would take a while. So, so that entered into it. I love dance, and I love creativity. I also have an art background. I have a degree in art and design. And so I started looking around me at other things and what else is going on in the world. And big fan of Fred Astaire, for instance.
I think you need to come forward just a hair. There we go. Yay. You ready to rock and roll? Yeah, that's nice. Okay.
Little hair.
Little hair, yeah. And if just bring your hip this way a little bit. Just look at me like that. Oh, there, that's perfect. Okay. No, we're good.
Okay.
Okay.
What?
All right, so I'm going to pull out my little card now.
Okay.
So
We're rolling?
we're rolling. Camera's rolling. Yay! So okay, and we've got a little noisy thing going on here. We're going to wait for that little plane to go by.
Bye-bye, plane. I don't look naked.
Oh, the light is now really good, actually. Okay, so let me ask you, what is your core belief when it comes to Nancercize? What drives you? What do you believe in?
I think Nancercize is one big answer to the fact that people just aren't using their bodies as much as is good for them mentally or physically. People have problems with time, they have problems with knowing what to do or where to go, they have problems with money, and the gym is a great place. I spent many hours as a gym rat myself, but it's not for everybody, and it maybe isn't for everybody all of the time. And so I developed Nancercize as a way to get past all those obstacles. It's a great, fun way to use your body to be physically active the way it was meant to be, and to hang out with your friends or family. And it's a great way to not spend a lot of money getting what you need to give yourself in order to be a healthy, happy person. It's based on the fact that we all need to move, plus the fact that nature is really healthy for us as well. So, as I mentioned, we're all pressed for time, so why not take the idea that nature is good for you, exercise is good for you, and put them together and exercise outdoors. So what do we mean by exercise? Exercise doesn't have to mean, being sweaty and being miserable and doing it 4 hours every day. The current recommendation is to have about 150 minutes of exercise, moderate exercise every week. Now, some people might find that sounds like a lot, and it really isn't. If you figure out that's basically only a half an hour a day, 5 days a week, I think we all can spare a half an hour a day, especially if you realize that you don't really need to do that half an hour all at one clip. You can break it up into 10-minute sections. So, for instance, you could do something in the morning before you go to work, or as you go to work. You could walk to work, and that could be part of your 30 minutes. You could do a little lunchtime break, or you could do a little something after work. Even if it's only 10 minutes, each of those times, it adds up to 30 minutes. If you want to do more, that's great. Up to a certain extent, more is always better. So Nancercize is about that. It's about making something practical and fun that sometimes the health profession makes it sound like it's a punishment. Exercise is medicine. You've got to do this. You've got to put in your hour at the gym. You've got to be on the treadmill. The treadmill for me would be something akin to hell. So, as I said, it's not necessarily for everybody all of the time, but we all would benefit from being out in nature. And that's the core of Nancercize, being out in nature, moving your body. And then the third component would be to use whatever is around you in nature. I mentioned earlier we don't need fancy exercise equipment. I came upon the idea of using a park bench as exercise equipment and doing body weight exercises to improve your muscle tone, and stretches to keep you more flexible, and balancing exercises so that we stay graceful and don't fall down. So it's a combination of those three things, using whatever is in your environment, in the park, outdoors, being in nature, and being active. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. It could be a big deal. There's somebody running right by us right now. So it could be as much or as little as you want. The thing that I really love about the park bench, especially most park benches, there's different designs of course, but most park benches, they have a seat and they have a back. And you can use the seat of the bench or the back of the bench to make an exercise easier. So that puts exercises within your reach that you might not be able to do otherwise. A lot of yoga stretches are that way, and push-ups are that way, so you can use the bench to make it easier. Or if you are at a higher level of fitness, you can use the bench to make things more difficult. So it's really for everybody. It's for people of all ages, it's for people of all abilities, all time frames, all budgets, all locations. I've been very fortunate in that the classes that I've been teaching since 2003 have been in wonderful New York City parks. But any park will do. It's great if you have a piece of scenery to look at while you're doing your push-ups, but not totally necessary. Just having nature in your environment and looking at trees and looking at greenery has actually been shown to be beneficial for your health. It doesn't have to be the greatest park in the world. It doesn't have to be the Grand Canyon. It could just be something that has a few trees and a little bit of grass, and flowers are nice, but not necessary. But just being outdoors, being exposed to natural light and nature are extremely good for our health.
So there has been research that you can point to.
Yes, there's been a lot of research that has shown that nature is extra beneficial for our health, and this is something that we've really lost in our modern times. We're all kind of glued to our screens from, the womb these days until the very end. We all have screens in our lives, and it's an easy way to spend our time with TV or computers or handheld devices, whatever you're using. So many people spend very, very little or no time outdoors, and this is so counter to our evolution. We were evolved outdoors, if you think about it. Until quite recently in civilization, human beings have been outdoors for most of the day, and we basically kind of crawled into a cave or some little dwelling to sleep, and we were out the rest of the time pretty much. Now it's basically the opposite. We spend most of our time indoor, and we crawl out for 5 minutes to, I don't know, get to our cars or get to the subway or the bus. And this is showing up, I believe, in many ways that are detrimental to our health. And there has been a lot of research done on this. I haven't done the research, I've read the research, and I've incorporated that into my work. There are books that have been written about it. So there's no doubt that lack of nature and lack of sunshine are detrimental to our health. There's no question that the research shows this.
Wonderful. Okay, that was great. So,
so do you want me to go into like some detail about how it's good for our health, mainly stress reduction?
Yeah, I think that's great. I think
that's not so great.
I think that's not so great. It's a little scary.
Yeah. But do we want to stop?
But now, just let's go.
See, I saw lightning. So.
Okay, let's see.
I think we should stop.
I think we should probably.
I don't want to get your.
Let's do the rest. Do you mind doing the rest at home?
No.
No, you can bend and turn as much as you want. That's great.
I don't look naked?
I'm going to pull back a little so you don't. Yay, that's nice. Okay.
I thought I wanted to leave my exercise top on, but I mean.
I think that's very smart.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so now we're ready to rock and roll. So what do you enjoy most for yourself personally about doing Nancercize? What gives you the most?
What I find most thrilling about Nancercize is the freedom to be outdoors. I really need to get out at least once a day, and doing one Nancercize class a day at least lets me get out of the box. I feel like being a little bit of a prisoner sometimes because half the time I'm writing and half the time I'm doing the fitness portion of my career and life, and so writing means a lot of sitting. So, and usually indoors. So that's the best part for me, honestly. The second best part, or maybe on an equal par with that, is just knowing how much I'm helping other people enjoy being fit, and giving them a means to be healthier and happier. And it's not no pain, no gain. It's no pain, no pain. It's my theory. So it's a painless way of helping people, painless for me and painless for them, being more fit.
Aha, okay, great. And can you speak to the issue we did speak to the issue of sitting breaks and all ages, and so yeah, tell me about community building. Is community building a part of your...
No, not at all. Yeah, so one of the things I noticed while I was creating and implementing this program over the years is that, oh my God, there's actually a community being built around this program and around fitness and around the park. People in this neighborhood really have always loved the park. But they were, for the most part, enjoying it as individuals, or maybe couples, or maybe families. But all of a sudden, there's this whole community that's sprung up around the Fort Tryon Park, and the beauty of it. People care about it much more passionately than they did before the fitness program started, and it's a good feeling. And I've they socialize. The people are meeting people that they've never met before, and they're socializing outside of the group. Of course, they socialize a lot in the group. There's a lot of chatting that goes on during the class, for better or worse. But outside the group, they also go to movies together. They help each other. They support each other. One instance was, I remember one mother was asking another mother if she could recommend a good school for her son. And in another case, someone was having trouble with a landlord, and she had to prove something, and something about her water being too hot and being dangerous. And so she asked anyone in the group if they had a thermometer that was geared towards that could measure dangerously hot water, so she could prove her case with her landlord. People share other fitness activities with each other. People have gone bike riding together outside of the group, and there's an annual event that we take part in, and many of the people in the group take part of that. So they even create a larger community in northern Manhattan, and it's just wonderful. People have coffee together, they have breakfast together. It's really nice, and they're able to watch out for each other during the class. I can't have eyes everywhere, so if someone falls behind a little bit, there's always someone that's going to watch out for any stragglers. So that's the community. And what I really love about it too is that the community is of all ages and of all professions and all incomes and levels. There was one incident where I had one class. I had a 12-year-old boy and an 85-year-old man and everything in between, and everybody was happy at the end of the class, and everybody got a really good workout, but not too hard, because you can definitely adjust the exercises and the speed to the various levels, so no one feels left out, or no one feels like, oh, I'm going to have a heart attack or anything like that. So that was great. It's a community that's not just like a very narrow community. It's pretty broad. Teachers, plumbers, waitresses, unemployed, grandmas, grandchildren.
I even saw somebody with a dog the other day.
Yeah, sometimes we have a couple of people bring their dogs with them. And if there are not two dogs at the same time that don't get along, I think that's perfectly fine. I mean, it's part of life. the other thing that I like about the outdoor exercise and basing it on walking in a park is that it seems more like it's part of life to people. It's not, oh no, I must go exercise and I'm going to do that between the hours of 1 and 2 on my lunch hour. That's fine, you know, for people who like to do that and maybe have to do that. But if you have a little bit more flexibility, a little more leeway, you know, it doesn't have to be that rigid. And you can, this is the kind of thing you can learn on your own, and you can go out anytime. I just came back from a month-long trip to Europe, and you know, one of the things that happens when we travel is that the food goes out the window, the diet, you start eating all these other things that you'd never normally eat that maybe aren't that slimming or healthy, and sometimes you forget all about the exercise. But if you base your exercise plan, or at least include in your exercise plan a park, just when you're living your normal life, then when you travel, chances are there's going to be at least one park near where you're staying. So you can always do at least something while you're traveling. And I went to one park, at least one park every day while I was away, and sometimes more than one. So I went to over 40 parks in 1 month.
Amazing. Amazing.
It was cool. And these were, you know, out of the way parks too. They weren't just like I was in Paris, so it wasn't just Tuileries. It was these little neighborhood parks that were so wonderful to discover, because real Parisians are there, not just tourists. So it makes you feel more, you know, a part of the place that you're visiting. If you can go to a park and, you know, just sort of mill around like they're doing. They're walking around, so why not you?
I'm also fascinated by the fact that you've come up with this sort of all-encompassing plan that is sort of, it's got a frame around it, and so it's...
You mean the pay it forward thing?
Well, just yeah, there's a lot of pieces that came together for you to put Nancercize together. And I guess what I'd like you to address, I mean, maybe address your history and your background and how these various pieces came together for you to come up with this plan.
Okay, just think a moment. I don't know, I'm trying to think of my first, you know, the sentence I want to say. Do I want to use, do you want me to say Nancercize or just my plan and Nancercize, right?
Yeah, I think if we're focusing right now on Nancercize, what brought you to this place? I mean, not anybody could have come up with this. You had to have done a significant amount of research. You have to have a history that sort of led you to this place and this program, I think, that is different than anybody else would have done.
Well, as a kid, I grew up in New York City, and as a kid, I wasn't really into sports and exercise per se. I was sort of a normal kid that went outside to play. And to me, that meant riding my bicycle, going on my roller skates, going to the park, splashing around, and you know, they had this little water spray thing there for kids, and I really loved that. And I really wasn't much for sports, organized sports, team sports. Maybe it was my glasses. Maybe it was I didn't have any role models, but I just wasn't much for sports, but I did like to be active. So I think that stayed my base even through all those years when I finally decided, oh, I need to be fit, and I need to exercise, and I need to go to the health club. So I joined a health club, and I started working out with weights and machines, and I even had a bodybuilder as a boyfriend who played hockey, and you know, I was really into the muscle world, and that was great for a long, long time. I really, really, really liked it, but then I realized that gyms were kind of noisy and kind of smelly and kind of expensive. And when I moved from one place to another, when I changed apartments, I didn't always have a health club that was near me that I liked or that was affordable. So I started looking at parks, and when I lived in San Francisco for a while, and of course they're big on the outdoors, and they have Golden Gate Park and lots of other parks. So I got back to the more natural way of being fit, which is to walk around outside and to ride my bicycle. Never went back to roller skates, but you know, swimming, that kind of thing. And so that was happening. And then another thing happened, which is I was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was pretty young. I was 30 years old. And let me tell you, that's, you know, slap upside the head. It was a real awakening. What am I doing in my life? How much longer do I have to live? If I don't have that much longer to live, how do I want to spend the time that I have left? And one of the decisions I made was to do more of the things that I like. I made a pact with myself. I was working very, very hard. I was, you know, a writer, and I had deadlines, and I would, you know, make sure I did that chapter a week, and nothing was going to come in the way of my doing the work. And I realized at one point that I was actually kind of working too hard. And my mother was right. She called me a workaholic at one point, and I was like, no, I'm not. But I guess I actually kind of was. So I looked at my life and I said, okay, I'm going to do one nice thing for myself every day, no matter what it is. It could be just going for a walk. It could be getting a massage. It could be, I don't know, you know, getting that haircut that I need. It could be eating a brownie, but it wasn't always eating. A lot of times we reward ourselves by giving ourselves a little something, a treat to eat. So that was included, but it wasn't only that. And so that's all part of the philosophy of, you know, you only have one life to live, I think, and even if you only have one life, if you have many lives, they all tend to be kind of short, relatively speaking. So how do you want to spend your time? Do you want to spend it grunting and groaning in a sweaty place where you're not really enjoying yourself so much, or do you want to spend it outdoors where the birds are singing and the clouds are flying by, and you see other people, you see people that you know, and the wind is in your hair, and the sun is glowing, and I thought, yeah, that's really what I want to spend more time doing. So I didn't give up the gym completely. I was still going occasionally, and I still do go occasionally. I also take dance classes, but my mainstay is walking in the park. A lot of people walk in the park. What's different about Nancercize, it's not just a walking program, it's a full body exercise and relaxation program. A lot of people exercise for relaxation. Being out in nature is far more relaxing than being in a gym. There are studies that show that that's one of the major health benefits of being outdoors. And oh, there's a bird flew by. I feel so relaxed. So I really like the idea of having more than one set of benefits also. So you get one set of benefits by exercising, one set of benefits by being in nature. When I started the group in New York, I also realized that there were benefits that were social in nature. So we're social animals, and we really, for the most part, like to be around people. And I noticed for myself, I really wasn't that great at working out all on my own. I really needed other people, or at least a friend to come with me. So so those are the three things that are really unique about Nancercize. Another thing is that it uses the park benches, which is a whole other part of my philosophy. And you know, I'm part Dutch and part German, and my parents grew up during the Depression, and so value of a dollar and not wanting to waste money, and you know, wanting to spend your money wisely. So I love the idea of using things that already exist and not having to spend a lot of money or time or thought on exercise equipment. And I love the creativity of it too. There's you know, there's a lot that you can do with just a park bench, which is the thing that I kind of settled on. We use, in my classes, we use walls and railings and steps and other things too, but the bench is really the most versatile piece of exercise equipment that I know of, and you can still sit on it. There's a lot of these adult outdoor gyms cropping up, and you know, those are great because people are using them, and it encourages people to be physically active. But when nobody's using it, nobody's using it. You know, you can't really sit on it and read a book and have your lunch and hang out with your kids or your cutie or, you know, whatever, whoever you want to hang out with. So I feel like, especially in these economic times and in general, we're having a reevaluation of the economy and money and what we want to spend our money on. Do we really want to spend it on gym equipment, or do we want to look around and see what we can be have a multi-purpose? So I really like the park bench.
Yeah, great, thank you. Cool. I'm just going to change my position just for the fun of it. Yay!
All right, get my good angle this time.
Well, I think all good. You've got all good angles going
I have
on.
one better side than the other.
Which is it?
I think it's this one, as opposed to this one. Profile. What do you think?
I don't know. I
One
haven't.
is better though, right?
I like them both actually.
See, I have a flat head, so yeah, it's this side. Because my head has a better shape. Here I have a flat head because I wasn't turned when I was a baby, so when my skull was still soft, I was like lying like this, I guess, for most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Plus forceps, so I've got this asymmetrical skull in addition to an asymmetrical face. But the skull, so it's like this is flat. And
I
feel like
see
it's
what you're
weird.
saying, but I think it's quite wonderful.
I'm sure I'm the only one that notices it.
Yes, I think you are, my dear. So, we've covered a bunch of wonderful things. You talked about nature, and so
What is it about nature?
what is it about?
It's so special.
What is it about nature? Yeah, let's talk about nature. What is so wonderful about doing all this in nature? I know you've done a lot of research on that. What can you tell us about that?
Well, what's so wonderful? Hello.
Hello.
What's so wonderful about doing your exercise in nature is that, well, number one, you know, parks are basically free, so you don't have to pay anything. Number two, they tend to be convenient and more convenient than, you know, health clubs, and less time consuming because you don't have to change into any fancy clothes unless you want to. But for me, because I'm a public health professional, the most important thing to me is the health benefits of being outdoors. And the studies are vast and getting even vaster about especially how being in nature is very relaxing. It's great for reducing your stress levels, and a lot of people do exercise to relax and to reduce their stress levels, and they're not taking advantage of the extra relaxation that they would get by doing their exercise outdoors. So studies have shown that people feel more relaxed. They say that they feel more relaxed when they've been in nature, when they've been exercising in nature, and then they have all these highfalutin, high-tech tests that they can do on your brain and on your blood that all support the idea that your stress levels go way down just by being in nature. And when you exercise in nature, there's an extra added beneficial relaxation effect. So the brain waves change, your blood cortisol levels change, all the physical indicators that we have that you're under stress change when you're in nature.
Does it also, what is the possibility of it being the, you know, better air quality?
Yes, actually they've done studies that show that the air quality can be worse indoors than it is outdoors. So, you know, depending on individual circumstances, the air quality might be better, and that, of course, that's healthier for you than breathing stale gym air that's been inhaled and exhaled a lot of times by other people. You know, there have been studies about germs and things being communicated in gyms, the hygiene factor. But some other studies have also shown how the break that your brain gets by looking at nature, as opposed to what you look at all day long, whether that's a computer screen or, you know, books or, you know, whatever your work might be, that requires a lot of focused, tightly focused attention. So when you go out into nature, there's a different kind of attention that your brain pays to your environment. So it's very restorative. So if you're having spells of fatigue, or where you can't concentrate, or you're having trouble solving a problem or coming up with an answer, going outdoors, taking a walk outdoors, doing some stretches and some exercises can be an amazing way to restart your brain and restart your energy. And studies have shown that is indeed what's happening, which is what's so exciting about introducing this into the corporate world. A lot of corporations are building fitness centers, and maybe they don't have to. Maybe they just need to use the corporate, grounds for some people, weather allowing, and that would really increase productivity and reduce absenteeism. So that's a whole other topic, actually. But children also do a lot better if they're exposed to nature and if they play in nature. And they've done studies with attention deficit disorder kids, and they're much better able to focus, and they do better in school. They've measured this. They actually do better behavior-wise and in school if they've been out into nature, and especially if they've been, physical activity is included in that. So blood pressure goes down. All kinds of great things happen to your body and to your brain. And then there's the whole other sort of spiritual, psychological, emotional aspect to it. And so many people have said that they have a spiritual relationship with nature. And this is a way to encourage that on a daily basis. You don't have to wait till Sunday to have a spiritual moment in your life. It can be pretty pervasive if you let it.
That's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, nature is my church.
And I think I'm also hoping that you'll address for us what do you recommend in terms of what cost is it to people to do Nancercize?
To do Nancercize or to learn how to do Nancercize?
Oh, good. Okay. Well, but yeah, talk to both of those if you would.
Okay. Well, Nancercize at bottom is completely free. I have a free video on my website, and you can take a look at that and get the idea for 101 exercises to do on a park bench, which includes stretches. They include strengthening exercises just using your own body weight, balancing exercises. They're based on yoga, dance, Pilates, martial arts, calisthenics. I borrowed from everybody because everybody has great ideas. The problem is that not everybody can do these things unless they have a little bit of help. So that's where the park bench comes in. So you can do these exercises on a park bench just based on my video if you'd like to try that. There's also a book that has more instructions and sort of basic information about exercise and how to put your own workout together. It also has over 3 dozen actual workouts that you can follow, where I've taken the exercises and I've broken them down into easy, moderate, and intense. So depending on where you are and where a certain part of your body is, you can adjust the exercises to your own needs. In the book, I also divide the exercises into groups. So there's stretches, active stretches, which you might want to begin with. There's lower body work, there's core work, upper body work, and then there's closing, which is mostly stretches. There's also a section on endurance exercises, which you can do using the bench or a step or something, some seating. I've seen, having traveled around the world, I've seen all kinds of ways that people are sitting and all kinds of things that people are sitting on. So concrete benches, wooden benches, stone, metal, different kinds of seating that don't look like benches but that are made for people to sit, or just even decorative, you can use those as well. So the book is really an idea book for using benches and other things in the environment, including your home. You know, sometimes you just want to do a little 5 or 10 minute thing at home or in the office, and you can do these exercises using the furniture, using a chair, using a table, using a countertop, sofa. I've done them using the edge of a mattress when I'm in a hotel room. Yeah, it's pretty open-ended. And then I'm also giving workshops. I give a class in New York City, but I also give workshops and train other people how to do this on their own, either for themselves or with a friend or as a group. My real goal is to try to get many more people doing this on their own without needing to be certified. I've got, you know, a bazillion certifications and all of this experience and knowledge and credentials, but you know, you don't really need to be me in order to be me, if you know what I mean. You don't need to have all of this background knowledge. I've distilled it all for you so that you can do enough to keep healthy and happy and strong and flexible all on your own.
So what if somebody wants to, you know, they read your book and they want to, you know, learn how to do it, and maybe they work for the Parks Department, or they want it to be part of their community, and they want a group, and they want it to be more like what we're looking at on this video.
Well, have check will travel. Yeah, I mean, you know, what I want to do is broaden my reach from New York City to the world, actually. So if people want to learn how to do Nancercize, they should just contact me, and we'll work out an arrangement. If it's, you know, if it's one person, we can do something by phone and on the web. We can have a group arrangement where I train several people at a time. I'm going to be starting actually another arrangement in New York City where I'm teaching a group a regular class, and then as part of that program I'm going to be encouraging people to step forward and let me know if they want to learn how to do how to lead Nancercize classes, and then I will train them to do classes, and then they can do with this knowledge whatever they want. They can, you know, have their family accompany them to the park on a weekend. They can do it at work. They can, you know, a lot of employees are encouraging their employers are encouraging their employees to be more physically active, but they might not have the means to do that. With Nancercize, they would. So it's very simple. You know, a lot of people are out there walking. Walking can get boring after a while, I know. So if you add a little spice, add a little Nancercize to those walks or to their runs, you're more likely to enjoy yourself, get a better workout, and do it. It's more interesting than just walking. Walking's a great place to start, though.
Yeah. Now, in the video that I've been shooting, people do arm movements and whatnot when they're walking. Can you speak to that, please?
While we're walking, we don't just walk and we don't just pump our arms back and forth, which I've seen a lot of people doing, and you know, nothing particularly wrong with that, but what we do is we add some pretty creative arm movements while we're walking in the park. And the reason I do that is because walking by itself really only works certain parts of your body, namely the lower parts of your body and your heart and your lungs, but it doesn't really do anything for your shoulders, your arms, your back so much, your abs. So I add these exercises while we're walking so that we make the most of our time, and we're working out our arms. And we don't use any weights, by the way. You know, if you've ever seen dancers' arms, they look pretty good, right? And all those dancers are doing are waving their arms around in the air. Basically, they're not using weights. So just using your arms repeatedly, you know, enough will actually have quite a wonderful effect on the tone of your arms. I also do arm and shoulder stretches while we're walking. And the other thing that does is if you're walking on a flat surface, some parks have steps, some parks have hills, but not all of them do. So if you've got a pretty flat surface, it's hard to get your heart rate up when you're just walking. If you add upper body exercise while you're walking, you'll get your heart rate up. And we've known this for a long, long time. In terms of aerobic dance classes, I know, when you teach in a class or you take a class, you'll hear the instructor say, if your heart rate's getting too high, if you're, feeling like you're going to collapse, just don't do the arm movements, just move your legs. So, again, this isn't revolutionary news. We've known this for many, many, many years. But what most people don't do is they don't do it while they're walking outdoors. They know to do it in a class, but they don't do it when they're just walking.
Great.
Add that extra bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just want to go back to the question on your core belief, and and if you would speak to what you believe is the gets you up doing this yourself and teaching it, and why it's so important to you in your life.
What I believe is that it's everybody's right to be physically active. It's everybody's right to love their bodies and to appreciate their bodies and to use their bodies. We use our brains so much. Everybody's, education, reading, the web, information, all that kind of stuff, that's all true, and I do all that myself. But so many people forget that we also have a body in addition to a brain, and they work together. And if you're concerned about education and intelligence, you have to be concerned about the body. It's going back thousands and thousands of years. All those ancient philosophers, they knew this, right? So how is it that we've forgotten it? So from the very youngest age all the way up to the day before you're leaving Earth, if it's at all possible, I think there should be a way for you to be physically active. I know this isn't possible for a lot of people because of time, because of money, because they just don't know what to do. My mission on Earth is to change those three things so that people have the convenience and the accessibility and the knowledge and the desire, the motivation and the joy of moving their bodies. Because we got them, so let's use them.
That's great. That's awesome. There was something you said that I wanted to speak to also is oh shucks, what was it you said that I wanted?
Taking care of the environment, feeling more comfortable in their community.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's talk.
There's so much. There's just so much to talk about. One of the things that I'm proudest of is that a lot of the people that have worked with me in the park, they now volunteer to keep that park beautiful and safe and wonderful for them and for other people. So, it's a way for them to give back. And I think that another way for people to give back that I'm very interested in cultivating is for them to then pass on the knowledge that they get from taking the Nancercize classes and pass that on to other people. As a species, we really like to help other people, and I know that's one of the things that gets me up in the morning, is knowing that I'm going to be helping people be more physically active and happier and avoid those big doctor bills and, sleep problems. That's another thing that exercise does, is it's great for helping you solve your sleep problems. But one of the things that we're all kind of looking for, whether we acknowledge it or not, is a way to be useful and a way to be important while we're here on Earth. And one of those ways to be important could be for you to help other people be physically active and to get outdoors and to appreciate what nature can do for them. It's a very simple thing. It's not complicated. You know, writing a check to a nonprofit is great. That's helping people. But volunteering or figuring out a way to incorporate into your career and your way of earning a living, to incorporate helping other people into that I think is the best thing in the world. And
So it sounds to me like you're talking about paying forward.
I am. Very good phrase. Why did I think of that? So yeah, becoming a Nancercize instructor in your own community is a great way to pay it forward. So once you understand and you feel and appreciate how great that you feel when you're exercising outdoors using these exercises, then why not pay it forward? That is also good for your health, by the way, and an extra benefit of sort of becoming part of the whole Nancercize community is understanding your role in the world can be to help other people appreciate and understand and know and do what you're doing.
Is this something that people can do who have difficulties like osteoporosis and that? Is it acceptable for all sorts of conditions? Is it flexible? Are those things part of what Nancercize is about too?
Yes. Another thing that's that I really like about this approach is that the park benches allow you to modify exercises either to be more difficult or to be easier, or to make them at all possible for certain people. I know people have a lot of problem with balance sometimes, and if you just have a bench in the picture for them to hold on to or lean against, they can do things that will amaze themselves. Push-ups are a prime example of a strengthening exercise that a lot of women have trouble doing, and so what do we do when we're, as personal trainers and group exercise instructors, what do we do? What do we tell women to do push-ups? We say, get on your knees and do push-ups on your knees. And I'm sorry, I don't want to get on my knees. Not only because it's kind of undignified, but also, you know, a lot of people have bad knees, so they can't even be on their knees. So doing push-ups using the park bench and doing many of the other exercises that I feature in the video and in the book it's a great way to allow people, whatever their level of fitness, to do something. And I've had so many people that start out you know, high up on the bench, and then we get them lower and lower onto the seat, and doing push-ups that are almost on the same level as the ground, but they're not touching the ground. And they can do it. They amaze themselves. So that's very gratifying too, to see people progress from someone who can't, you know, they say, oh, I can't do anything, to people who amaze themselves just by making it progressive.
Wonderful. Okay, now I'm gonna, that's great. Now we're not gonna say anything for just a minute.
Okay.
That's called room noise.
Been there, done that.
So I'm going to pause this for a moment, and I'm going to ask.
We're
Red
red light. So the angle is okay? I mean, what's going on?
You're gorgeous.
I look okay?
You do.
Okay.
Go for it.
I started as this little kid in New York City in the streets of Brooklyn, running around, having a great time, and believing that moving my body was fun, and it was something that, you know, was part of life. I eventually became a writer, and then I was doing a lot of sitting down, but I was writing about health topics. And at one point, the irony struck me that I was doing a lot of sitting while I was telling other people to be more physically active. And I thought that was kind of hypocritical, and that I should really be listening to my own self, and I should, walk the walk or talk the talk, whatever it's called. And then, so I started going to health clubs and getting really, really fit. And then at one point I realized that health clubs weren't really that much fun for me anymore. And around that same time, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that just really shifted everything for me. And I realized that I wanted to do more of the kinds of things that were gratifying and pleasurable on many levels. And so I started doing more things outdoors, kind of going back to the way I was when I was a kid, and really enjoying more natural ways of being active, which included bike riding and swimming and just walking around, and appreciating nature, and loving the freedom of being outdoors and moving my body in a very open, free kind of way. When I got my degree in public health, I realized that I could probably help other people do this as well. And I thought, wow, that's major. Not only would I not be sitting all day long, not only would I be exercising, but I would be helping other people do it too. So I kind of started pulling things together. I became active in a local park when I moved back to New York City from San Francisco. I met lots of people who were interested in helping me establish fitness programs in New York City parks. And so that's what I did. I studied various parks, and I chose a couple of parks that I thought were really ready for this kind of program that I had sort of developed in my head. And I went ahead and I did it. And what was it? It was walking in the park. Okay, that's pretty simple. Realizing that walking can be a little bit tedious after a while, a little bit the same, left, right, left, right. So I added other exercises to it. I had been part of a parks sponsored program where we were encouraged to take people outdoors, and I built on that, and decided that we really didn't need any equipment. It partly grew out of necessity, and partly grew out of a philosophy that I have, which is, don't use more than you really need to. And so I started looking at park benches, and we started looking at walls and steps and railings, and I thought, wow, this is all exercise equipment without spending any more money, and without spending maintenance, and without any big deal. I just started adapting exercises that could be used on various park features. So as time went by, I realized through doing a lot of research that wow, nature actually is all kinds of good things, in addition to all the kinds of good things that you get from exercise. So putting those two together was a big aha moment for me. People can get basically twice the benefits of exercise plus being in nature. And so I've got these groups now that are very active in New York City, and we love what we do, and now we'd like to bring it to a larger audience, and that's my vision for my future, and hopefully the future of a lot of people who are looking for a fun, easy, convenient, no cost or low cost way to be healthier and be physically active. Pay it forward.
I just wanted to have that last few seconds of I want people to feel like a kid again.
Yeah, I want to help you feel like a kid again.
Okay.
I want to help people feel like a kid again.
Yes.
Exercise doesn't have to be a drudge. It can feel more like play. That kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So go ahead.
I want to help people feel like a kid again. Exercise doesn't have to feel like a drudge. It doesn't have to be an hour on a treadmill. It can be a walk in the park. It can be playing on a park bench with your kids. It can feel like being a kid again, yourself. So pay it forward. Be a kid, pay it forward, have that good feeling of helping other people. And one way you can do that is take part in Green Gym Day. This year I just launched this Green Gym Day. The idea behind that is to just get out into your park and do something physically active, and then send me a photograph or a videotape of you doing that. And I'm going to put you in a video. And Green Gym Day varies from year to year. It's the second Sunday of every year. And what I would like to see happen is not just the second Sunday in June being the day that people go out into the park and be active. I would like to make every day a Green Gym Day. And I'd like to have you help me do that. The end.
Yay!
I don't know.
That was great. That was great.
Okay. So, are we going? Okay. So, I would like everyone to feel like a kid again. I feel like a kid again when I'm in the park. My clients feel like a kid. They're always happy at the end of a class. So you can feel like a kid, you can pay it forward and feel really good about doing that. And you can do it at least once a year. I've started this kind of a holiday, a park holiday called Green Gym Day, where I'm encouraging people to go out into their park and do something physical, take a little picture, take a little video, send it to me. The website will be included, and you can possibly be in a video that I'm doing of Green Gym Day. Now, one day a year isn't going to make a big difference, is it? Nope. I want every day to be Green Gym Day. And I know that this is just a start. So I hope you'll be part of that. Be part of the start of making every day Green Gym Day.
Hey, feeling like a kid again.
Goofball.
That's wonderful. That's great. Thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate it.